Hello, Gary Champion. Good morning. Yes, things are looking bleak. The thing is, um, we elect politicians to run the country. That's what we do. We put our welfare in their hands. They're not equipped for that. They look pretty in a suit. That's how they get elected. They say the right things, but it's not necessarily true, any of the stuff they're saying, and we know it. We know it. We're going to make America great again. That line was used during World War II by a certain person who's killed himself. It's rhetoric. It's just words to get elected. They're not equipped to do the things that we're asking them to do. I mean, even though there's a couple hundred of them, they don't seem to be able to do anything. They have to shift out of me, 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 me mode. How do I look on camera? We have to shift them away from that to a wartime mentality because that's what's going on. It is a wartime situation. No, we don't need jeeps and tanks. We need ventilators, you idiots. We need test kits. We need hospitals to quarantine people where they don't spread it. But we're asking a lot of politicians that have no experience with it. None. We'd be better off putting a doctor, the guy that runs a clinic for these kind of people that are frontliners that have dealt with communicable diseases in a large way. That's who needs to be running the country. They're just brushing them aside. Oh, young man, these things you're saying aren't true. We'll be out of this in a week or two. That's the politician. That's the non-wartime politician. The medical people are being honest about it because they don't have a dog in this fight. They're just being they're just being honest. But they're being slammed for it by non-wartime politicians. If we were shooting shells at somebody, they'd be listening to these guys because they'd have to. And I'm saying that's what's going on. That we're in a shooting war against a virus we can't see, or you and I can't see it, and we're arguing about it instead of firing back. We have non-wartime politicians. They look pretty. They look good in a suit, and they say the right words, and they pound the table and they say things. That's what we've got. They're pretend. They're puppet rulers. They don't know anything. They're not as well equipped as I am to run this country. I could step in there and I'd listen to these medical people and I'd say, okay, let's do that. Let's allocate. Let's get some ventilators over there. Let's do a double rush on this quarantine. Let's get 18 places working on a vaccine around the clock. Forget going home. Forget lunch breaks. They're not doing that. They're hoping it'll blow over where they'll still look good and they can still get elected. Well, that time's passed. Now they're looking like idiots, which is not what they are because they're complacent is the word I'm hearing. Complacent. We've never seen this before. It's brand new. And we're asking our leadership to do something they have no experience with. We'd be better off with a team of medical doctors allocating funds to, break this up. Say the economy will be handled by these economy guys over here because they understand that better. Let's let them distribute money and food and whatever and medical supply. Let's let them do that. Let's let the medical people create answers for the virus. Work on the medical end of it. You see what I mean? Politicians have no place in this war. They have no place in it. They're sitting on their hands arguing about streets and who gets what and why. And I'm not going to vote for it because I just don't like it. I was going to say, a good slap in the side of the face might just give them a little attitude adjustment as to what's really going on. 30 million people are out of work. It happened overnight. We've got to do something. And sitting around arguing about who knows what they're arguing about. Oh, we're not going to be able to party at Mar-a-Lago like we were. This virus has just ruined my life. I might not get elected. What we need are politicians that think beyond themselves. The me time is over. The time of looking pretty and knowing nothing, that's gone. That's gone. It's time to put the country first. What can we do to save a life? And then start thinking about 1,000 lives. What would you do if your life were in danger? How would you like to see this money spent? How would you like to organize the country to fight this as though it were a war? We're being assaulted. And the best we can do is heed these doctors, specialists in this kind of transmission of this crappy disease. And again, believe me, we're going to see several more of these. This is just the beginning. So we need two kinds of people. If we took this Congress and Senate and the president and vice president and all their little cronies and just moved them to another building, we'll call it White House 2. We'll put them over there and let them pound gavels and argue about how cool their suits look and install a wartime Congress in the White House and let these guys argue over there, pay them their money, whatever they want. They can keep their houses and everything. And then when this war is over, move them back into the White House so they can argue about petty crap, which is what they're doing. They're petty people. They're me people. We need us people. I'm not seeing a lot of that. What I'm seeing is people covering their ass. This didn't happen. I didn't do this. Obama did this. I actually heard that the other day. I read it online. Obama did this. Guy was on television talking about it, blaming Obama. And the girl who asking the question said, wait a minute, this guy's been in office since 2016. He hasn't done anything. You can't blame some guy that was 5 years ago, but he insisted on doing it because that's the party line. You sling mud at everybody around you. I didn't do it. It's not my fault. I wasn't there. I don't know anything about it. That's what you do. This morning, I see the president saying that it's GM's fault that there aren't enough ventilators. It's GM's fault. That's never a more untrue statement than that. You have to authorize them to build them. You have to pay them to build them. You have to sign a contract with GM to build these things. You can't blame them for not building them because they weren't told to. And there's many people that could build these ventilators. New York needs 500 of them. Everybody's going online saying, no, they don't need them. And that's what the president said. They don't need them. That governor's, he's right there. He's in the driver's seat. He's seeing it. He's got that many ventilators he needs to keep people alive. Saying they don't need them is dismissive. It's dismissive in a stupid way. All he had to do was say, we'll get on it. We'll work on it. It's politics. That's all it is. Who gets what now? And Republican governors are in just the same boat as anybody else. They're afraid to oppose them on anything, afraid they won't get whatever it is they want. They're in a fine line there. Politics has to go. Me people have to go. Us people have to take control of this mess. And it's like having a general. You have a peacetime general. He's good at counting paper clips and making sure the Army gets plenty of exercise and deployment, that they have the proper gear when they need to jump out of an airplane. Wartime general's different. Where are we going to land? How many people are we going to kill? How are we going to take over this property? I mean, how are we going to deploy our troops in a way that doesn't get them killed? A wartime general is a different general. Peacetime general, he's just as useful. The army has to be run whether we're having a war or not, and they do a good job. To make sure all the maintenance is done on all the equipment necessary. But when it gets into a shooting war, they're lost. Why? Because they've never done it before. Go back to the Civil War on this. That Abraham Lincoln had a dandy little general called McClellan. And he amassed troops unlike anybody you've ever seen, hundreds of thousands of troops, and marched them up and got them outfitted, and their uniforms looked great and all that. But he didn't know when to fight. He kept going and then taking the troops back home. He would get them all on a boat and take them down, get right up to attacking someone, and just reverse it and go. Read your history. He kept trying general after general after general until he got to U.S. Grant. And Grant didn't give a nickel about organization, but he knew how to go. He knew how to press his foot on the pedal. He knew when to say, okay, boys, it's time to take that hill, and they did. Two different kinds of generals. McClellan, great organizer, good at the small stuff. He couldn't tell troops they were going to die. He couldn't say, I'm going to send these boys out and get them. They look so good. They're marching their uniforms. They look so great. I don't want to destroy this thing. Grant didn't care about that. He wanted to win a war. He didn't care anything about organization. None. He left that to other people and got on with saying, okay, let's go. What we need is a wartime general. We don't have one. We have a do nothing, cover your ass, what about me, general. But it is kind of unfair. We're asking a general to do something. He's a paper general. He's not a real general. We're asking him to do something a real general has to do. And he doesn't know how to do it. So he's flopping around. He listens to this guy, he listens to that guy. Personality clashes, he just eliminates them. Makes no sense. But we're asking a peacetime general to do something that a wartime general knows how to do. It's easy for us to look and say, look at that idiot. He didn't do this, he didn't do that. The truth is, he doesn't know how to do it. Why? Because he's never been there. That's all there is to it. We've not seen this on this scale probably since I was a kid in polio. That killed lots of people and crippled many, many more. We didn't know what to do then. Came up with a vaccine, saved the day, stopped it in its tracks. This is that kind of a thing. We need a miracle, boys. Drop your shovels. Take your fancy uniforms off. Create a virus. That puts this crisis in the hands of medical people, not paper pushers or look. Takes it out of those guys' hands and puts it in the hands of the people that know how to deal with it. Their entire thinking, their entire lives is about this. So we're kind of being unfair by asking someone who's never done this before how to do it. The thing about any president is they usually have really great advisors. But when you dismiss them all, what do you replace them with? Me people. So now you have me, and no one's saying us. The people that were there knew their jobs. Some of them have been there for a long time. They knew how to do it. They knew how to organize things and get the medical thing going. They're not there anymore. mostly gone. The precedent was set for this in the, I guess, the 50s and 60s with the polio virus. So those people are all gone. The people that created that knew what to do, they're gone. And I don't know why they're saying epidemiologist. They keep saying it while I'm even talking to you. Epidemiologist. The clue is there in some way. There's a safeguard, something to do with epidemiology. I don't even know what that is. I'm assuming it has something to do with skin, but I don't understand that. The epidemiologists need to work with the people that deal with the bug in some way, and there's a connection. I'm just not bright enough to know what it is. Okay, so that's my soapbox for today. And we've got to stop thinking about me, 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 and start thinking about us in a way that's significant. And when we start doing that, then we've got a chance against this. We're kind of, one hand's doing it and the other hand's fighting that hand. Without a wartime general, it's going to be hard. Not his fault. He's not trained for it. Doesn't have a clue what he's dealing with. No fear, no regret, no anger. Thanks for watching.